Walking along the beach after a powerful storm, Cindy stumbled upon an enormous tree washed ashore. Its massive roots and sprawling branches spoke of its age and size. Intrigued, she approached, drawn to its natural beauty and the mystery of its journey. Upon closer inspection, Cindy noticed a carved message on the trunk. The warning, cryptic and ominous, prompted her to alert the authorities without delay. Cindy was unsure about what to think about the strange message carved into the tree. It was clear that this had been done very recently, judging by the fact that the message was upside down. She determined that it had to be done before the giant tree had ended up here. The message itself both scared and confused Cindy. It indicated that someone or multiple people were clearly in trouble, and there was a good chance that it had to do with the storm. Maybe this tree had come from there, but that somehow seemed highly unlikely to Cindy. What stood out most about this tree, besides the message carved into it, was that trees this big did not grow anywhere near here. She needed to call the authorities, but she was very much disappointed with their answer, even though she could completely understand it. They, along with all the other emergency services, were far too busy dealing with the aftermath of the storm to worry about a message in an old washed-up tree. For a kind-hearted person like Cindy, that decision was very easy. She could never forgive herself if she were to just leave this for what it was. So, she started thinking of a plan to approach this very strange and difficult situation. She called her close friends Norma and Steve, a couple who had their own boat, which Cindy really hoped had made it through the storm. Cindy had sent them a picture of the cryptic message that was carved into the tree, and they also were not sure what the symbols were meant to represent. They met Cindy on the beach, and there they had a look at the tree themselves. The giant tree had now also drawn the attention of other people they did not know. Exactly with what all they had was what looked like a bunny scratched into a tree trunk. Seeking wisdom from the virtual community, they posted the image showing the deeply carved words and the puzzling symbol, hoping for insightful interpretations from internet users worldwide. Cindy, Norma, and Steve meticulously combed through the sea of responses. They encountered a wide range of interpretations, from the probable to the bizarre. Could the rabbit-like carving be a clue pointing to a specific location or event? They pondered over maps and local lore, trying to connect this newfound theory with the storm and the mysterious origins of the tree. Delving deeper into the possibilities, a forum user's suggestion struck a chord. The symbol could be related to Rabbit Key Island. This small, often overlooked island had its share of legends and lore. This theory about Rabbit Key Island injected a much-needed spark of hope into their hearts. For Cindy, it was a beacon in the midst of uncertainty. With a plan in place, they began their final preparations. Supplies were gathered: food, water, emergency kits, and additional fuel. As the boat cut through the waves, each of them was lost in thought, contemplating the possibilities that lay ahead. What would they find on Rabbit Key Island? Only time would tell. As they neared Rabbit Key Island, its desolate nature became strikingly apparent. The rugged coastline, lined with scattered trees and debris from the storm, painted a picture of isolation and abandonment. With cautious precision, they anchored near the island shore. The sound of the waves gently lapping against the hull accompanied them as they stepped onto the island. Their search began immediately. Cindy, Norma, and Steve combed through the island, eyes keen for any sign of recent human presence. A makeshift shelter, crudely constructed yet recently used, stood hidden among the trees. Among the remnants of habitation, they found personal belongings that painted a vivid picture of those who had been here. The group gathered to discuss their findings and contemplate their next steps. They debated the implications of what they had uncovered and the responsibility it had placed on them. Ultimately, they decided to contact the authorities. Using their satellite phone, they relayed the details of their discoveries, emphasizing the urgency and potential significance of the situation. While waiting, they decided to make one last sweep of the island's perimeter. It was during this search that they stumbled upon a crucial clue: the remnants of a makeshift raft. With no response from the authorities and the discovery of the raft, the trio decided to take matters into their own hands. They strategized their next move with urgency. The plan was to search the surrounding waters, looking for any sign of the raft or its passengers. The sea was vast, and the search proved more challenging than they had anticipated. Cindy, Norma, and Steve scoured the waters, their eyes straining for any sign of the raft or its passengers. Realizing the enormity of their task, they decided to expand their search area. They charted a course towards other nearby islands, hoping that the raft might have drifted or been steered in that direction. Just as the light of hope seemed to be fading, a faint cry for help pierced the air. The sound, barely audible over the waves, galvanized them into action. Guided by the cries for help, they spotted people clinging to a fragment of a broken raft, bobbing perilously in the water. With lives hanging in the balance, the importance of their mission was clearer than ever. Every action, every decision, could mean the difference between life and death. After tense and painstaking efforts, they successfully brought each person aboard. Immediate care was provided, with Cindy, Norma, and Steve tending to the survivors' needs. Faced with the language barrier, the team resorted to universal gestures and basic words in an attempt to communicate. Although rudimentary, these methods bridged the gap temporarily, facilitating essential understanding and connection. Upon reaching the shore, the immediate priority was finding a translator. The team quickly sought help from the local community, explaining the urgent situation. Fortunately, they were able to find a Spanish translator willing to assist. Through the translator, the immigrants recounted their perilous journey. They spoke of leaving their homes in search of a better life, facing dangers at sea, and the constant fear of the unknown. As the immigrants continued, they described how the storm had drastically altered their course. It had been an unforeseen disaster, trapping them on Rabbit Key Island with no means to call for help. The translator relayed the significance of the bunny symbol. It was a symbol of hope and a reference to Rabbit Key Island, chosen for its recognizability. Each narrative stood as a testament to human resilience and the universal quest for hope and security. The team listened intently, deeply moved by the profound struggles these individuals had endured. Reflecting on the sequence of events, Cindy, Norma, and Steve marveled at the fortunate chain of events that culminated in the rescue. From discovering the tree and deciphering the message to embarking on the search, each step felt like a puzzle piece fitting into place. Shortly after, the authorities arrived, prepared to assume responsibility for the immigrants' care. The experience had transformed them, leaving an enduring impression of the power of empathy, action, and the unexpected influence one can have on others' lives.